I would describe that as a smattering of applause. Dave, you know, in the late 90s, remember Mankind used to talk about having dozens and dozens of fans? That was meant to be a joke. Now it has come to fruition.
We're here now. How are you guys?
Too good.
How's the weekend been?
It's been great. I've had the best. Seriously, I've had the best time. I just did an interview with someone from local New Orleans media, and they're like, "How have you enjoyed it?" I was like, "I've had the best time because I've been to New Orleans a lot, but I'm not as bad as some wrestlers because I go out and I see things and I stop at historic areas. But Dave, it's basically airport, hotel, venue." And some of the guys go to the gym, and the tanning, not so much for me, but my daughter had landed this job with the New Orleans Tourism Board. So I got here 2 days early, and brother, the food here is so good. I had so many great meals. I went to the World War II Museum, I went to View Orleans, did the riverboat tour, made a couple of really great friends here, people I'll stay in touch with. And it's been, I gotta be honest, given the choice between having a killer, crowded, profitable convention and hanging out and seeing lots of great things, I would take the killer, profitable convention. But as long as there's not many people there, you might as well enjoy it. And I was talking to my friends about how the conventions that are a little disappointing actually give you the chance to talk to people a little more. And I'm pretty good at spotting someone who could use a little extra attention. I do believe there's a healing power to the Foley hug. And so there's been healing going on that no one even knows about.
I was right next to you the whole time. I needed some extra attention. You gave me nothing. Nothing. Was it
You're a vampire. You're a vampire.
I was in a near fetal position. Nothing. Nothing.
Well, I don't think I've ever asked you this, but obviously, Gangrel, my favorite vampire, we will go on record to say that, right? And we know he loves the Lost Boys. Obviously, a lot of Gangrel, can we say based on the Lost Boys, right?
Yes, it is.
So,
It's the Lost Boys meet the Freebirds.
Yeah. I like that.
the crossover.
I like
That's how
that.
I pitched it.
Freebirds are one of the great tag teams, created a lot of mayhem in their careers.
Do you have a favorite vampire movie?
The Lost Boys is up
Yeah.
there, but Queen of the Dam would be like number 2.
love
Queen of the Dam, yeah.
Ooh.
And Interview with the Vampires 3, they're both, but Queen of the Dam edges it out. Like,
I would have to go with
Leah would not.
Hammer Films, The Horror of Dracula. Hammer had those really stylish films, right? I mean, I love the Universal stuff, but Hammer was in color, and you know.
I thought you would be more of a love at first bite or something.
No, you know, during the pandemic, I think all of us, you know, went on binges, and then I'd be like, I want to watch the Hammer films. I want to watch spaghetti westerns. I want to watch, you know. So I went through a bunch of things, but really enjoyed. Every 15 years or so, I revisit horror. Can I tell you a quick story?
Please, yes.
So, and I don't. I try not to be a name dropper. And I think John Cena would agree with me that I'm not a name dropper. I think one of my best friends, Dwayne Johnson, would verify I'm not a name dropper. But I did drop this name because a friend of mine was a big Alice Cooper fan. And I said, do you know, I've got an Alice Cooper story because I said I'm the only person who will ever say these words. And these words are, now, doing a reading from 1 Corinthians, Alice Cooper. And that's because I officiated the wedding of Alice's lead guitarist, who's one of my best friends, Nita Strauss. And the only reason I have my officiant's license is because this young lady asked me if I would marry her and her fiance. And not only that, I got to help pick out her dress on Say Yes to the Dress.
That's right.
Because who better to help you make the most important fashion decision in your life than me?
It's true.
Thank you.
It's so true. And then I have the tattoo to commemorate it.
So cool.
I need the Gangrel tattoo. I'm working on it. I'll do it.
Let me see the tattoo.
Oh, it's like me and my husband as Sockos.
Oh,
and
that's
then you're in the
awesome.
middle. Yeah.
And then it's
I
Ric
thought you were
Flair.
pointing
Yeah,
at
Ric
E.T.
Flair's on there too.
You got Alice Cooper's autograph on there.
Yeah, I got a couple. I got a couple. Okay, so I wanted to ask, obviously, between, let's say, Mankind,
Yeah.
Gangrel. Obviously, you have these unique, let's say, almost edgy, dark personas, barbed wire bats and blood chalices. So, is there something that like draws you into these like darker, grittier characters?
David, you want to handle that? Gangrel?
I'm just not right in the head.
He was married to Luna. So.
Yeah. I did live my own personal horror story for like 18 straight years, but there was never a boring time, and I love her to death. I miss her, and I miss guns, knives, and things being thrown at me, and cussed at in 2 different languages, and a third one I think she just made up. Horror, I think I just connect with it. Like, I'm sitting here in track pants and sneakers and not looking very horror-like except for the fangs. And they're not even very scary anymore because people think they're cool. But I think I just kind of feel like I fit in. Like, it didn't fit in anywhere else. I've tried, and the wrestling, when I started out, they said, hey, you're lucky to be a junior heavyweight champion. It was 220, 230. They said, you're small, 6'2". It wasn't very big when I started in 87, like I started. And
Because everyone wanted the Giants back then.
they were huge. They were just monsters out there. And so, but you could wrestle very well, but I didn't have the greatest of bodies. You start searching and going, what do you...
You have the best body on this couch.
Well, the love seat. Our love seat, yeah. I'm looking over going, my Heather's looking pretty fit lately.
I dropped some LBs. Yeah.
You look
About 80 of them, yeah. No applause for that.
The beard's even trimmed a little bit, like more.
Remind me next time I do a panel to wear socks, please.
But I just always been fascinated with the vampires and stuff like that, and I always thought even if they were murderous, treacherous, evil things, they were still just cool, So, and I just connected with vampires, and that's just where I'm at. Other horror movies scare the crap out of me. I can't watch them by myself and whatnot.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I can't sit in a room and actually watch a horror movie.
What
by
a
myself.
wuss.
Yeah, I gotta admit it. I have nightmares, Well, you sit by yourself and watch it?
Yeah. I won't watch Terrifier, though. My daughter says it's too scary, even though David's such a nice guy if you go over there to meet him,
You
right?
have to see it.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. And as far as what drew me to kind of the wild stuff, well, remember Dr. Frankenstein, he had this dream and he brought it to life. I mean, I was essentially, when I had a chance to do, especially the wild stuff, I really liked it, and I like that sense of commitment. Some people literally call it garbage wrestling, but I mean, wrestling is whatever you want it to be. And I always wanted to think of it as like, I'm leaving a surreal work of art out there. And I got to bring that stuff to life. And the funny thing is, as much as it was drawn, there were 2 things. I wanted to be known as the wildest wrestler and also the nerdiest, silliest, because we did some really goofy things, right? People forget that during the Attitude Era, So last night I told my friend who prides herself on being a big nerd, I was like, oh, I can out-nerd you. Because last night on the Riverboat tour, we were invited up to the captain's perch, right? They let me wear the captain's hat, and the next thing I knew, much to the displeasure of my daughter, I was rocking out the theme to Gilligan's Island, and I was like, if not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost.
Everyone!
The minnow would be lost. The ship's aground on the shore of this enchanted desert isle with Gilligan, the skipper too, the millionaire, and his wife, the movie star, Professor and Marianne. Here on Gilligan's. Hit it, Heather.
Here on Gilligan's Isle.
While you're here, I'm curious out of that. I'm very curious. Ginger or Marianne?
I was always a ginger guy. Yeah.
Who's a ginger
I
guy?
was a ginger guy.
I was a little bit of a Mrs. Howe, but
Ooh.
I don't like work. But
Did you know, and show of hands if anyone read either of my novels. Really? Get out of here.
1, 2, 3,
Really?
4.
The book Scooter, I mean, it's climactic scenes at a convention. And the the professor is one of the characters in the, and there's this like, it's my version of, what was the famous thing where the sled had a name? Rosebud. So my Rosebud is an autographed ball that Joe DiMaggio signed. And this is based, you pick up these little things. I might have to ask the parents to put the earmuffs on the kids here. But I heard this story, and this guy met Joe DiMaggio, and he didn't have anything to sign. But he'd paid the money, he'd waited in a 3-hour line. And he said, the guy told me, he said, Joe would not leave it alone. He just had to find out why this guy didn't want anything signed. Because, Mr. DiMaggio, do you really want to know? I said, yes, I do. You waited on this line, you don't want to know. He goes, earmuff. I just want to shake the hand that shook the dick that bleeped Marilyn Monroe. And they said that Joe got up and he went into the back and he started punching walls and the videotapes were falling down and all that. And I was like, then in my story, he comes back out after he cools down and his autograph's got a thumbprint of blood on it. And that becomes the Rosebud. And that was, I wrote that really before I started going to a lot of conventions. But there's something, something magical, I think, about being here. Even if it's a small crowd, we always look. All of us, once you leave the bright lights of WWE, you're going to be wrestling in front of crowds this size from time to time, and it's up to us to bring our A game because every person who bought a ticket deserves to see your best. And so I was always a believer in trying to bring my A game every time.
So
thank you
yeah,
for that smattering. Yeah,
Yep.
The best way to show your appreciation is when we finish. The people from Guinness are already here. I'm gonna lead the world's largest conga line directly to my merchandise table. And
Okay, so a question I don't think I've ever asked either of y'all before. Who do you think has or had the best hair in professional wrestling?
the best hair?
Yeah.
Depends whether or not you're a Bob Ross fan.
I mean,
Because
sure.
if you're down with Bob Ross, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
I got called Bob Ross 3 times last night alone. The best hair. Let me see. Best hair.
Crush had some nice hair for a while.
Crush had some nice hair.
Michael Hayes when he had it, but
Michael Hayes had some.
Michael
Yeah.
Hayes.
But you remember back in the day, everyone had. It was unusual to have a wrestler with short hair, and it's so much easier to do certain things with long hair. I'll let you read between the lines. Makes it more difficult to high definition. Camera zoomed in super close and no more long hair means guys are really beating it. You really got to send those forearms in, And, I mean, that's I was big. I love Bruiser Brody's hair.
That's what I was gonna go
because
with.
it was so wild and it played to his character. Like if Bruiser Brody showed up with a David Cassidy 1971 shag cut, he's not Bruiser Brody. But he had that thing, which I kind of copied by having the ponytail in the back of the head. And I thought, Brody's hair, I thought his hair worked really well for his character. Yeah.
And with short hair, I'm gonna go Gino Hernandez.
Ooh, very nice. Yeah.
But Brody, I was on the Brody page with you there.
All right.
100%.
Now, can I go off script and make a case for why Terry Funk was the greatest interview ever, with all due respect to Dusty Rhodes, and everyone's got their Mount Rushmore. Because Terry Funk, to me, gave the greatest wrestling interview of all time, and it consisted of one word: forever. This was in 1982 when Terry retired from wrestling for good the first time. And I mentioned to a friend of mine that he was the first guy to show emotion in Japan, because Japan was such a stoic culture. And guys, they would never show emotion, and Terry would openly weep. And there'd be this dramatic setting where his blood and his sweat and his tears would commingle, and he's giving this interview, and they're trying to interview him. He's just saying one word. He's going, forever, 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 forever. And just when you think he couldn't say it again, forever. And I was so mesmerized, like, this is the best interview I've ever seen. How good was it? So good that I was given a chance to drive around in a golf cart backstage at Universal Studios in 2000. And as I'm driving by, I hear someone going, "Forever, forever, forever." And I turned around, and it was Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy doing Terry Funk. That's how good Terry Funk was.
Was he in all leather or no?
No, I don't know. I think it wasn't all leather. He was in a tracksuit, I think. Yeah. Pretty cool, right? Yeah.
2000, you'd have been in the Doolittle phase.
That's fair. So, if I'm correct, tonight it's Evolution, right? The second Evolution? Is that tonight?
Yeah, I think
that
it
the
is.
premiere
Yeah,
happening
I think it
tonight?
is.
And obviously, both of you guys are big proponents of women's wrestling.
Yeah.
And Dave, I mean, you've trained so many, countless wrestlers. I want to know, like, where do you think, like, the women's division is currently going? Do you think that they're still getting the same pitch or push that they did years ago? What are your thoughts?
You know, I'm so wishy-washy on it. I think they've come light years. They can actually wrestle and stuff. They're treated. They get their own pay-per-views and stuff like that. But being married to Luna so many years, it's just hard for me to look at it where she just wanted them to all look like Leilani Kai. Like,
yeah.
You know, or come in, and she was a big fan of like a Debbie Malenko or Nora Molly Holly. She likes solid work like that.
Yeah,
And these girls can do that. Me personally, I do like looking at it, but I like to see bigger outfits on them and whatnot. No, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I do.
yeah.
No, I like looking at it, but I just hate that it gets sold a lot on their body and their looks. But it's the same thing with guys.
Not as much as it used to be. Remember, the guys are showing as much skin as the women.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're
Randy
talking about.
Orton's trunks are getting smaller.
Yeah, they're getting smaller and smaller. We are the only vocation in the world where guys wear
There's no
tiny
VPIs
trunks,
on their trunk lines.
knee-high boots, almost completely hairless men. You know, it's a weird thing, right?
But I think they're amazing workers and they're amazing talent. And anybody that thinks it's easy should go to their local wrestling school in the area and try it out before they judge or say anything about anything to do with the abilities and stuff of the women in wrestling and the men. But I think they've come light years, really.
What I think is it's come so far that it's not talked about as much because I think they are on a par with the men as far as attention and people. I mean, WWE conditioned their fans for years that the women's matches were the time to take a restroom break because nothing was going to happen. And then there was that Give Divas a Chance, and then the Four Horsewomen came up and changed the game, as did Paige. And I think it's good. I was on my way here. I was looking at ESPN, and they were showing the WNBA. And it's not a big deal to see WNBA on ESPN because they're doing it now. But up until Caitlin Clark, you got 1/100th maybe of ESPN was dedicated to women's sports. And it was a gradual, I mean, in some ways it was gradual, in some ways it was overnight, but it's accepted. Okay, the women are equal with the men. And in wrestling, it's like, yes, the women are equal with the men. They have their own pay-per-view, but no one's talking about it because it's become the norm, and that's a good thing.
But on a side note, what people don't know, the most moves and stuff that I've sampled or taken or just flat out stolen or from women's All Japan Wrestling in '85. Yeah. I was taking her stuff. Nobody was watching it over there, and I'd go, "Oh wow!" Oh. And I go, "Well, if I just do this reverse different and transition into it this way, I'll make it mine." That's where all the black cart moves came from back then. We did those big moves. It was All Japan Women's. I was just stealing all
Were you a Chigusa
their
fan?
stuff. Well, yeah.
I was a big Chigusa Nagayo fan.
And then when Dump Matsumoto and And then,
so we're throwing names you probably don't know, but at WrestleCon, one of the agents came over and asked if take a photo, and I look up, it's Aja Kong. It's like, she wants to take a photo with me. Here's one of the greatest, one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. And she used to terrify a generation. I mean, they literally, girls would be crying because they thought Chigusa was going to meet her death. And here's Awesome Kong, who terrified so many people. And she's got this little girl smile on her face. And I was like, that was really cool. I'll have to post that in a couple days. Are we going to give the people out here a chance to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
If you guys have some questions, now's your opportunity. Anybody? Or we'll just keep chatting. Ooh, there's a spotlight and everything, guys. You get to come into the light, ask your questions. Anybody? Bueller? Okay, thank you. Thank you, our first willing victim.
Oh, spot.
Love it. Hey.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm thinking of a question on the spot because I didn't have one, but no one was standing up.
It's okay.
So I guess just thinking back, what is the favorite match that you were a part of? Could have been just in the ring, outside the ring that you were a part of.
You know, it was 2004 against Randy Orton at Backlash, and I don't know if the artist is here who painted just this great piece of artwork, and it's big, it's like poster sized, and he really captured the emotion of that. And first of all, anytime anyone spends their time and talent on me, it's really appreciated. But it brought back great memories of that match, you know, where I was really in the zone. The month before, I teamed up with The Rock against Evolution, and I just thought I wasn't proud of my performance because I knew I was playing it safe, you know, trying not to mess up as opposed to trying to do the best I could. And so the next month, I had another chance and against Randy, and you know, it was a little magic in the air or something. It was really good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, mine, it's not even WWF or WWE related. It goes all the way back to Japan when it was on my first tour over there, and I was working under a mask as the Black Hearts, and I had torn my rotator cuff on the first night in with the Killer Bees, you know, Jim Brunzell. I tore it. 2 weeks of crying in my room, trying to figure out life. Why am I wrestling? I can't get through a match. We had really fancy moves, like I said. We call them moves from the '85 Japan women or the mid '80s. Took a lot of that stuff. Had no idea how to wrestle though. Had no clue. No Scooby Doo. No clue on how to wrestle. We just looked cool and had good moves, right? And then we get there and it's Budokan Hall, and because it was in Budokan, I always love it because it's live at the Budokan, live from the Budokan.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Cheap,
you know.
cheap trick.
So it was with Crawford and Furnace. They were called the Can-Am Express, and it was a point that I was literally that tour. I was gonna quit wrestling. I go, this is not for me. I just can't get it. I can't figure it out. And they were kind enough to go out there and carry myself and my partner through a 20-minute match live in the Budokan. And
The Bees did?
No, Can-Am, Furnace and Crawford.
Oh, Furnace and Crawford, yeah,
Phil
yeah.
LaFleur and Doug Furnace.
Furnace.
Yeah, and they carried us through it, and you know, and everybody knows who Johnny Ace is, probably, right? He comes back. He was Johnny Ace then. He comes back and he goes, "Oh, I lost $50 on you." I go, "Why'd you lose $50?" He goes, "I bet him they couldn't carry you through a match," but right? And they did. But I'm glad he bet him because that match changed everything for me. Because when I could hear the crowd and the bleachers going in the Budokan, it was such a magical moment that I've still been chasing that dragon to this day in wrestling to get that feeling again. But that's when I went all in and I never looked back. So that match, it's horrible on video if you watch it. It was probably the worst match I've seen on me on tape. Well, there's a lot out there. I mean, they're bad, but that moment,
Great. It felt great while it was happening.
It felt great while it was happening. Even when I went back and looked and it was there, I still could feel that. It was like I went all the way back to 1990 again, you know, and it was an amazing thing. And it was with the Can-Am Express, Doug Furnace and Phil LaFleur against the Blackhearts. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
You got it. It's a good question.
Hello, what's your name?
All right.
Jacob, I have a question for Mick Foley. What is your favorite persona and then your least favorite?
Ooh. Well, do you know what? I mean, for a long time, I thought Cactus Jack was my favorite because he was the purest. He had all the wild matches. He did the crazy matches for little money. Then I realized that Mankind made a lot more money than Cactus Jack did. But more importantly, as time went by, I recognized, and when I'm saying years went by, I started hearing stories from fans who felt connected to that character because they didn't feel like they fit in life. And Mankind showed them that you can be fine. You can embrace the things that make you different, and you can be successful because of them. And so when I see someone, especially if someone's kind of shaking, I know that it's a Mankind story. And I know, and I'm pretty good at telling when someone needs a little extra attention. What?
I was next to you the whole 2-3 days. No attention.
We'll have you
No
check it
attention
out.
for you. Yeah, no attention for you. Yeah. No attention. You weren't shaking. You weren't shaking. But I love that. And now Dude Love has redeemed himself on Cameo Video. He's reinvented himself as a lounge singer who's about 1/3 as cool as he thinks he is. So You'll have to order a cameo and hear Dude throwing down some birthday songs.
Which you do very well.
Do you want a little sample?
Yes.
So this is, I just realized there's only one birthday song. As much as I love the Beatles, they say It's Your Birthday is a bad song. Not bad in a good way. So, Heather, can you cue up a karaoke version of My Way by Frank Sinatra?
Can we do that in the back? Okay, they're on it.
I wish I had my Dude stuff, but I'll do it as Dude, okay? And I'll only do the first verse.
You gonna join in, Dave? Every time I do the singing thing, he's like, let's go.
And now, the time draws near to celebrate that anniversary. My friend, it's been 40 years since that first night inside the nursery. You've lived a life that's cool since you began this groovy earth stay. But more, much more than this, today's your birthday. The day Dude hopes it's nice, a fun-filled time with joyous meetings. This is your overpriced but customized Dude love greeting. Your friend Joe, he bought this gift, not in a frankincense, a gold or myrrh way. Oh no, he got you this. It's for your birthday. Best rhyme coming up. Yes, there were times you slipped and fell, like the time that I was thrown off the cell. But through it all, we did not stay down. We picked ourselves up off the ground. I've been set on fire, wrapped in barbed wire. Now it's your birthday. And that's all we're doing now. So.
Oh my God, Mick Foley, or Dude Love. Joey's.
That'll be out in the stores for Christmas. You can find it at.
I can literally feel the respect for me leaving the room.
No, I think now we all want the album. Drop the Christmas album, right? Christmas. Yeah.
Actually, the best rhyme is this. It goes,
Okay.
the years go by so fast. At every stop, you've cheered me on, son. That night in Worcester, Mass, I won the belt. I beat Dwayne Johnson. And that's, yeah, so there you go. It's a fun
Brilliant.
one, yeah.
Look at the line now.
Yeah, look at the line. Everyone wants
It's
to hear me sing a
quadrupled.
song. Yeah.
They're all song requests. Hey, what's your name?
My name's Sophie.
Hi, Sophie. Sophie, can we change things up and can I ask you 2 questions?
Sure.
Who is your favorite wrestler and why am I? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead and ask your
What's your
question.
question?
What was it like being in WWE?
Well, you know what, Dave, you want to handle this one, and I'll give my take on it too.
What it was like for me is I felt like a rock star, you know. It was all in, want some, get some, bad enough, take some, you know, 24/7, can't stop, won't stop, fanging and banging. So it was just rocking and rolling and touring and I didn't even go home. They would offer me third-party appearances and stuff like that. Well, I was scared to go home to Luna. She was usually always mad at me, and they figured that. So they sent me off. So man, it was a whirlwind, a roller coaster, loop-de-loops and hoop-de-hoops, and I loved it, every minute of it.
Where was all this in your promos?
It's
I
funny.
don't remember you hanging and banging back in the day.
No, I had the worst promos in wrestling history. Actually, if you Google up worst wrestling promo, it probably does come up with me and Michael Hayes and the Hart. They gave us these pages and pages of things to say, words I didn't even understand, and I was trying to do it. And Edge had the same amount. He gets out there and he goes through like the first couple lines of that page, and he goes, "Beware it, take care, the freaks come out." And I threw it all out and skyrocket.
Yeah.
And I went off the cliff. COVID, I came up better with all this stuff. So I sat home and learned to talk.
And what was her question? Oh, you know what I liken it to? Do you remember when Dorothy Gale wakes up and she's got the farmhands next to her and she's trying to explain what she went through, and she's like, well, some of it was horrible, but most of it was wonderful. And so I look back, like I said, almost all, like I got some, a few bad memories, but most of it was awesome. It was like I got to live out my dream. I exceeded everyone's expectations, including my own. And if you would have told me that I could still show up dressed in a fanny pack and sweatpants and like still have people come to see me, 25 years ago I would have thought you were crazy. I would have thought I've got an 18-month shelf life and no one will remember anything I did, and I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Are you going to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow now, or is that the next?
No, but I do have the best Father's Day song ever. I won't hit it now. You could sing. Can I tell you a story about singing? You think you've heard me sing enough, right? And so, but this is fun. So so Heather has hosted a few of my one-man shows. So you always change things up. So I haven't done this in years, but I would talk about the fact that before some of my matches, big matches, like I would listen to this really gentle, beautiful song by Tori Amos, and then I would start singing. And the deal was, I wasn't so bad that that people thought I was trying to sound bad, but I certainly wasn't so good that I was good. So it was a little uncomfortable. And so we're going to give you just a little bit taste of that. It's like, I'm forgetting the word. Oh, when you gonna make up your mind? When you gonna love you as much as I do? When you gonna make up your mind?
'Cause things are gonna change so fast. All the white horses are still in bed. Tell you that I always want you near. You say that things change, my dear.
And we look at out of the audience and be like, I didn't see that coming, So that was.
We nailed it.
Yeah. There's a little bit of singing for you.
I always was singing Rage Against the Machine. Killing in the name of.
Well, it's all about harnessing an emotion. So you go out there so you can believe in yourself. And emotions don't have to be loud or aggressive. They can be gentle, and they can be powerful that way. I believe in that. I mean, I did my share of getting ready to, the classic metal songs, but that was my go-to. Like, if you were to look at my 10 wildest matches, Tori Amos is probably responsible for 7 of those. So that's when I had to get into the zone. That's where I'd go.
And she knows it too.
She knows it.
She's
Yeah,
written about it.
She knows it. And not only that, it was at an appearance in 2008 when I met her, and she hugged me, and I said, I don't care if people think I'm overly sensitive. I was like, I felt like a small child in the arms of an angel, and I think she may have transferred some power onto me. And it wasn't until I met her that I realized how important these meetings could be. So prior to 2008, if you have a picture with me, it probably looks like I'd rather not be there. After that, I'm all in now. I'm all in. I really enjoy these, and so you look at these little moments in your life and try to take advantage of them, and that was a real positive experience for me.
Well, we only have about 5 minutes left, so let's get through these as fast as we can. What's your name? What's your question?
Okay, I'm Al. Question for both of y'all. Y'all talking about Japan. Who are some of your favorite opponents you had in Japan? Some of the folks y'all worked with that you never worked with in North America.
Yeah, because Terry Funk and I had the big rivalry in Japan, but we worked there. I mean, when I went over and worked for All Japan, I got to work with all those top guys, not in main event matches, but at the non-televised house shows. Like Kenta Kobashi. Oh,
Yes.
man.
Masawa's my all-time favorite.
Masawa.
So, yeah.
I mean, Great Muda, I remember, well, I never wrestled Great Muda. He was part of Devastation Incorporated. And at the time, he was the Black Ninja, and his English was really limited. It was limited pretty much to Ninja Pee-Pee when he had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Ninja Pee-Pee. And so I went on many rides with Keiji Muto, but never, he didn't speak. But still, when someone brought him over there at WrestleCon, he was like, "Remember me?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I remember you." And plus, he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And Jushin Liger. No, I never wrestled Liger over there. I'm just marking out for the people that I really love, And while I'm throwing it out there, like the Tiger Mask Dynamite Kid stuff was just off the charts, and so it was decades ahead of its time. And so that and sorry, I'm going way off your question. So it'd be Misawa, Kobashi, all those top guys of that era were the guys that I wrestled in Japan but never wrestled again. Andre the Giant, I wrestled 4 or 5 times in Japan, but never in North America.
Mine, Kabashi, Masawa, but it was when I worked Giant Baba. Giant Baba. Baba-san. And then we were so bad when we came over. This is a true story. Giant Baba actually came down in the ring to try to help us learn.
Did he really?
Yes, a true story. I remember Dean always remembered me. Jesus, you're that bad kid. Yeah, but he would come out there and he would talk to him and they try to get us through things. But I guess it's because he had to work us later. But it was Giant Baba. I was so honored.
Thank y'all.
Okay.
What's your name? Yep, you're up.
If you guys still have time for one more question.
No, we got 5 minutes left.
So,
We're good.
as guys who've been involved in a lot of matches, like the production of matches, other than the storytelling and like the direction of the match and the booking of it, what do you think are like the most important like production elements, like things like lighting and design and stuff like that? What lends to the atmosphere and the feeling more than anything?
Ooh, I think you just described it. The biggest difference for me when I left WWE is you don't appreciate how good they are until you're not there. WWE would never miss a move. If they didn't show it while it was happening, they had 4 different camera angles. And I didn't like the way Vince produced. When I was an announcer, I did not like being yelled at and cursed at, and that's why I left, But they have a great crew there that believe in the product. And they have guys who've been there 30 years, cameramen have been there forever. And they're willing to take, what Vince dished out because they love the product. So I don't know how to answer that except to say the biggest thing to me is not missing the shot and not missing the moves.
It's a great answer.
Mine was entrances. Entrances are phenomenal, and I can attest that I loved mine.
You had
I
one of the
loved
best.
mine.
You had one of the best.
They'd go out of the way for the pyros, the ring of fire, to come up through the elevator and the stage. And
I never had pyro. I never had nothing.
And then working around and then being able to do those bloodbaths without them being disastrous and everything else. So it's just they know how. And like Stone Cold said to me once, he goes, "Kid, what's the favorite thing about your music?" I go, "I can walk to it." They would always try to find something you could walk to, like his glass would break. Stone Cold. He could walk to the beat of his music, and I found my groove to mine. I could walk to it. So and they knew how to find that and. They looked at you and they saw what they were looking at and knew how to bring it out of you or get you to bring it out of you and meet you there halfway.
Can I
and make it
share a
work.
painful? It wasn't an entrance story; it was an exit story. When I was I was announced as an inductee into the Hall of Fame. A couple weeks before Hall of Fame, I asked Mr. McMahon if I could sit down with him, and he always used to give me his undivided attention. But to this day, he was reading the contents of his protein bar. He wasn't even looking at me, and I said, Vince, I still call him Vince back then, like, in all the years I was here, I never had any kind of entrance or exit, and I was wondering if I could do something special at the Hall of Fame. Okay, what do you have planned? I said, what do you want to do? I said, I'd like to fly into the sky on a sleigh with Santa. And he looked at me and said, why the hell would I want to do that? And I said, because I love Santa. And he said, that's got to be the stupidest idea I've ever heard. And it never happened. Yeah, it never happened. Never happened. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Hey.
I've got a question specifically for Gangrel. So, in your brood entrance, with the chalice that you held, what was actually in there that you were drinking?
Viscous fluid. it was, I would love to say I was drinking stage blood or human blood or pig's blood or human blood, but it was stage blood. A nice, zesty mint, I don't know if I pronounce it right, but you can go to any magic shop and order Bin Nye. It's zesty mint. Don't order the other crap because it's zesty mint. You got to get zesty mint. Vampires have got to have fresh breath. And it just,
Zesty mint, huh?
Zesty mint. It was very nice and refreshing.
It was convincing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You got it.
Hey.
Hello, my name is Tyler. This is a question for my friend Journey, who couldn't be here. For Mick, what were you thinking during your last match in ECW, and do you think you'd be able to play Cactus Jack in WWF?
No, I did not think I'd be Cactus Jack. I didn't know at the time that the whole reasoning for the Mankind mask was because Mr. McMahon thought I looked seedy and only agreed to bring me in if he could cover up my face.
Oh.
So when I was doing the Cactus Jack thing, the night before at Lost Battalion Hall in Queens, I wrestled Chris Jericho. And brother, I'd cut those pretty scathing promos, and the fans, they were irate. They were really angry. And I thought to myself, the next time in Philadelphia, it would be nice if I got a little different reaction. And I wasn't prepared for it. I mean, the whole building stood up. They started chanting my name, and I got pretty emotional because it was so much more than I was expecting. And then as far as entrances go, there's been a lot of great entrances. For my money, the greatest exit was me, Stevie Richard, and the Blue Meanie strutting out of the ECW. I said, for my last act in ECW, I'm going to strut out of the ECW arena. We did the Jackie Fargo strut down the aisle. So I really great memories about that last match in ECW. And I wrestled Mikey, and we had a really good match, too.
For the record, I thought Cactus Jack was really handsome. And you had the Brody hair.
I had the
with
Brody hair, the
ponytail,
long
yeah.
hair. Yeah. My character was not marketed as being handsome. He was marketed as being hideous.
I thought you were handsome.
You just got to look close. You have to look close.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 2 questions left. Is it okay? if we
Yeah,
do-
yeah.
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Logan.
Hello, Logan.
I have a question for Gangrel, and then you too, Mick. But
You
so
too.
you had the coolest entrance. You did, like hands down. That was awesome. Yeah.
Banging and banging.
But the Fire and Edge and Christian. So did your push kind of stop when they sort of kind of took the main stage out of that?
No, it didn't take the main stage. That was my own victim
okay.
of circumstances. I was more tied up in my relationship with Luna and stuff. So I'm the only one to blame for anything on my end or anything stopping on my end. They told me to look out for Edge, that they were going to put a rocket ship on his back. They were strapping it to him. He was their next guy. My job, and I knew it going in, was just to look out for him, help him blend in, because I had been to Japan, and I knew a lot of the older workers, and I've been on tours in Malaysia and Africa. I had been working since '87 and been very blessed to work full-time in this great industry. So I knew everybody, and it was just my job to blend it, and it was just a blessing that the whole thing took off long enough that I could sit here 30 years later and still answer these questions for that eight months of that wildfire that happened. And
That's awesome. And Mick, were you singing Tori Amos when you were falling off the cell?
No, I could not believe how freaking small that announcer's desk looked. I thought I was gonna die. So I don't curse in real life, but I do curse in my thoughts.
Right.
And I knew human nature was that as soon as the Undertaker's music plays, nobody's gonna be looking at me. And I looked over the edge and I went, "There's no effing way!" And the entire time he came down, I'm thinking to myself, how can I climb down this cell without ruining my career? And then I realized I couldn't. I was like, all right, this was my idea. I made my bed. I got to lay in it. So the crazy thing about that night is that once he threw me off the top of that thing, and the table just about implodes, and half my body's in the, actually underneath the guardrail. The crazy thought I had was, at least the worst part of my night is over.
No.
And then things got so much worse, So that was the crazy part. Like, wait, that thing, no, it's not over. It's going to get worse. And it did, you know, for me physically, it got worse. But, and one of the ironies is that, you know, we're considered the fake sport, the phony sport, the show business sport. Things have changed since '98, so this is past tense. But we were also the only sport that continued when one of the guys was no longer conscious.
Yeah.
So we didn't stop matches, we bought time, and it's just kind of mesmerizing to see that time buying process and so much going on. And so what I like to say is, like, The Undertaker and I didn't get to the finish line the way we wanted to, but by God, we got to cross the finish line, you know, and it was, yeah, it's, and if you haven't seen the actual match, you've only seen the clips, if you watch the match, to this day, it's really powerful.
Yeah, it's good.
Really powerful. Yeah, it's really powerful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our final question. What's your name?
My name is Cooper. Who was y'all's favorite person to work in the ring with?
Ooh, Dave?
Steve Blackman.
Get out of here.
You had no, I tell everybody all the time.
Get out of
Loved
here.
wrestling Steve Blackman. Loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I like knowing I could die any minute.
Lips on the edge.
Like, you know, it's edgy, yeah. But definitely, yeah, Steve Blackman was up there in the top 3, yeah. I'm telling you.
It reminds me, I was telling my friends about this little boy named Antonio who had been badly burned, and he became the little boy who puts the spirit of Christmas back into a broken-hearted Santa Claus. And we had a little side plot where the WWE wrestlers, superstars, visit the North Pole to try to make things better, and they end up making things even worse. But there's a line in there that says, for a while, things were looking up, like something up, and maybe for a while, a year or two, or maybe more, Steve Blackman cracked a smile. Because, brother, he didn't have much in the way of facial expressions.
Yeah.
And my favorite guy, you know what? The truth is, I was so lucky to work with all the great superstars of the Attitude Era. All the great superstars. And Al Snow. This thing on? But the truth is, if I hadn't come out of the gate wrestling The Undertaker, I don't think I'm on this stage right now. So I'll say Undertaker. Because every night when that music would go off, Paul Bearer would roll up his shirt sleeves and he'd see that the hairs were standing on end. And I've got hairy forearms, but those bad boys were standing on end too. And it's like, we get to do this. Like, I'm out there in the ring and I'm getting emotional every single night and I'm getting paid to do it. So I'm going to go with, oh wait, hold on. I'm just hearing now that Triple H runs WWE, and I might want to go back there someday. I'm going to change my answer. Triple H.
Good answer.
Okay,
Great question, Cooper.
Thank you.
So we are going to take a big group picture with everyone, if that's okay. But I was wondering, just maybe to make Gangrel's weekend, do you want to give him a hug before we take a big group picture?
Okay. Only if we get a hug chant going.
Okay, hug.
But it's going to, hold on. It's going to be a bro hug. No torso-to-torso contact.
That's okay. We'll take a
Now, you want me to sink it in? I'll say it. Sink it.
I'm excited. Hug, 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 hug.
This is Derek Huff. Brennan Huff and Derek Doback hugging.
Aww, Mick Foley and Gangrel, everybody. And now, if it's okay, let's take a big group picture. If you guys want to come to the stage, just not on the stage, so we can take a big group selfie. Sure. Oh, they're playing Winter? Thank you. Thank you.